All right, everyone, welcome. In the interest of time, we will go ahead and start today's presentation and the webinar. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kun Win. I am a prevention specialist with the Utah State Board of Education. Welcome to our monthly webinar, and this today's topic will be on accountability practice and peer court. So as a welcome, our prevention coordinator, Tanya Albanos, will be here shortly. If she can, Tanya, if you just say hi. And this is today's agenda. I will briefly go over the definition, the newly defined definition, accountability and restore practice. We'll have a distinguished guest today, and if you can see, we have a panelist here on the screen who will be talking about youth court, and they representing Canyon School District. So it'd be a fantastic presentation today, and then we'll wrap up. So. Just to share with you in terms of the definitions here, accountable practice is the definition that the Utah State Board of Education worked in April of this year, and then they approve as of June. In terms of the definition, is that any evidence-based practice that is increased academic outcome decreases behavior that disrupt the learning environment and hold students accountable for their action by requiring them to take responsibility to prepare harm and provide restitution when appropriate. The second part of this, the board just revised and approved in November, which is early this month. The second bullet point, which is practice may include behavior plan, restore practice, and increase engagement. So the board did pass this in June. It's just that reordering that, and so the second bullet is in the process protocol to make it an official, so it take effect in mid-December. But the overall content of it is there. So this is in regarding to the bill that passed in 2017. There's a big juvenile justice reform, and part of that to keep to address in responding to school-based behavior. This is very important to distinguish for our adult in the room at this here that talking about is prohibited refer to law enforcement or juvenile court for truancy with certain exception, and I will talk about that a little bit. And Class C misdemeanor infraction status offense and offenses committed on school grounds. So this is the low level offenses happening on school ground. So it prohibits referring to law enforcement or juvenile court. It does allow to refer to alternative school base, including mobile crisis outreach team, receiving center, operation operated by the Division of Juvenile Justice Services, youth court, where we will highlight today, and then restorative justice program. So back to the part of the truancy, where it has to be the circumstance that the minor has previously alleged to have habitual truancy at least twice in the school year, and that the minor has referred to an evidence-based alternative, meaning the list on the above here twice, meaning they refer but it didn't work out, and then refer again to alternative before they could be referred to juvenile court or juvenile justice services. So that's just to clarify there. So restorative practice is an alternative to the program here, and is an alternative approach to address school-based behavior. So part of the what is restorative is talking about the building that appropriate relationship with school, with teachers, with all school personnel, and then that culture at the school level, right? Building that community and sense of belonging. It's really important that a school have that a sense so that students be, oh, I am part of this community, it's part of mine. So when they are feel like that, they'll be more involved. Effective questioning and conversation technique that when addressing students' behavior, when addressing student behavior, appropriately addressing students' behavior, providing skill set versus punishment. Rather, we will have a conversation so that students really understand the impact the behavior has on the student themselves and others. Establishing appropriate expectations for behavior in classroom management and maintaining appropriate effect with student when addressing behavior. So with the Youth.Stable Education, we are standby and ready to share this restore practice concept, accountability practice with LEA, with a local school education agency. So with a request, submitting a request to our prevention, and I will share with that link at the end of the presentation here. So another definite, so there's confusion about restorative practice, restorative justice program. So restorative practice are elements that you can incorporate in everyday practice to build out relationship. Whereas a program, it has to be very specific and is with an overarching goal is to enhance student safety, reduce school suspension, and limit referral to law enforcement agency or court, and that it to help minor take for responsibility to repair harm that occur in school. So the program is more like a youth court is a program with more specific intel, whereas the restore practice is an everyday integration of that when we encounter with youth. Other alternative that we're talking about is I listed earlier was the law allow for mobiles, crisis outreach team, youth services, a certified youth court, and then other program that school adopt or that school work with other state agency to create that and develop that to work with students. Tobacco cessation or education program, truancy mediation or prevention or early intervention run by the juvenile justice youth services. So those are alternatives that can be school can use. Another concept that we are promoting at the State Board Education and our prevention team is on the protective factor. The protective factor is a evidence-based research practice, and it's not per se a program, but its component is incorporated in everyday interaction with youth. When we're promoting the well-being, the protective factor here, it does increase the well-being of our student and family. It reduces the risk of unhealthy behavior and provide practical strategy. It's integrating not only to mitigate risk, but also to promote well-being. It's a framework organized so that is maximize the impact. It's a prevention practice. Already exists in the prevention practice and program, making small strategic adjustment to everyday school activity, and including that build the 5 protective factor. And I think the prevention, we share this concept throughout the year, and is the concept that's available on our website. And if school would want to learn more of this, the same thing, go to our the request, and then we can go out and share this with school. So as we'll feature today on youth court, peer court, the term used interchangeably. Look at how youth court can provide and promote this protective factor. So on top of my head, we're thinking about providing that concrete support in terms of need to our students when they come to youth court. We promote that social connection when they work with others, talking to youth about their resiliency, that through difficult time they can pass and work through the difficulty challenge they have. And then through the program, youth court program, it will promote and build cognitive, emotional, and competency in each of the youth encounter with that. The knowledge of development is cannot be a topic of discussion. It can be included in that, but that it can promote knowledge of development as well. So Canyon Peer Court is run by Charisse Hilton, where you can say hi in here. Who is a school program administrator. I had the privilege of working with Charisse on various occasions, including working on the juvenile gang prevention. College of mine, Charisse, he and I came out in September and visit youth court to see the live action. It was an amazing experience for me, at least, and the youth court just delivered on each of their case. The judges were deliberate and awesome in working with the youth. So Canyon School District featured at the 2025 Promising Youth Conference, and also at the June School Safety in West Jordan. With no further ado, please welcome Charisse Hilton, and she will introduce her panel. Charisse, take it away.
Thanks, Kuhn. We have a great panel here today. I'm surrounded by wonderful people that support this program. So I'm actually just going to ask each of them to go down and introduce themselves. We'll start here to my left. We have students and adults as well, but we'll do brief introductions.
Hi guys, I'm Delana and I'm a sophomore at Jordan High School, and this is my second year being a judge.
My name is Manon. I'm a senior at Bryan High School, and this is my first year as a judge.
My name is Urban. I'm a senior at Alta, and I'm also a first-year judge.
My name is Caleb. I'm a second-year judge, and I go to Brighton.
Landon, I'm a senior at Alta, and this is my second year doing peer court.
I'm Suzanne Rand. I am the mentor for our peer court.
Sergeant Todd Singleton. I'm the youth unit supervisor for Sandy Place, and I've been in the program for 5 years.
And you'll get to hear from each of these individuals, including our adults in their specific roles. We'd like to just share with you, this is our 6th year operating a peer court, and very grateful. I hope someone from Ogden is on here because we sing their praises every time. Ogden School District also has a district supported peer court, and we cannot thank them enough for all they did to help us get started. We're going to go ahead, and Kuhn's going to show you a short video, and then we'll go from there.
I would describe peer court as an intervention from the juvenile court system where there is a team that we all work together successfully, being administrators, school personnel, teachers, parents, students, our local police agencies. We all work together very successfully and keeping these kids out of the juvenile court system where they could spend a long time there, where we try to get these kids in and out of there quickly, back on the track for success to where they feel comfortable and better about being in school and being successful.
Really care for the students that come in here. It's not just about the punishment and about figuring out how to restore the justice that was lost or figuring out why the student did what they did. We genuinely care for the student and want the best for them, and we care as much as we do for our own students and for our peer judges. We care. It's never different. Even with every case, we always care about a student and we always put the best forward, and we put 100% effort into creating a disposition that's unique to them, and that's something that they will be able to work with and that they will be able to use and work towards a better path.
Being a judge for peer court was completely different than how I expected it to be. Most of the kids that came through were younger than me, and seeing kids so young struggling with such similar things that I've struggled with, and also getting a completely different perspective on how their lives are, was definitely like eye-opening for me. And it made me feel good, that it made me feel like I was helping a kid get on the right path.
I really like the message that peer court sends. I think it's a good place to be, primarily because it gives kids an understanding of the gravity of the situation. It's also a leadership position as well, right? She gets to go work with kids in her community and to better understand what they're going through.
Yes, I support my officers sending their status offenses to the Canyons Peer Court. It's much faster than the juvenile court system. It doesn't place such a heavy burden on the juvenile court system. It leaves those district attorneys free for more serious offenses. It alleviates the taxpayer burden by not having as many court cases go to the juvenile justice system. And then it also bridges a gap between our SROs themselves and the students, the student offenders, and then with our peer court judges.
We can deal with these issues in a community-based education environment with their peers part of it and their parents and administration of the school all working together as a team. I can't think of a better way to deal with these school-based offenses and offenses that aren't too serious. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not advocating that someone who is violent or puts other students at risk, that we try to bite that off. But the majority of offenses for young people don't fall into that range. The vast majority are what we would call low-level offenses, and there is a better way to handle them. And I congratulate your district for taking this on, making the program work, and helping these kids turn their lives around.
Thank you. And then we'll advance to the history slide. Kuhn. So if we talk to you about the history of our peer court, this goes back to the reform that Kuhn already mentioned today in 2017 with the legislative reform, and peer court or youth courts are listed as one of those options that schools can utilize. I came to the district as a district administrator in 2019, and I was given the task then to develop a peer court for Canyon School District. Part of that was an equity issue. 2 of our cities that feed to canyons already had youth courts. 2 of our cities did not. And so it was looked at as we wanted all of our students to have that opportunity. And that was one of the driving forces. Our why was offering that support to our schools to have other options and offering the support to the kids and families. I would mention, and I know Carlene Kidman is on this broadcast today. Carlene is the chair of the Utah Youth Court Association. We do need to certify. You do need to put your application in and be approved. And then actively involved in that Youth Court Association. Carlene is a wonderful support and mentor. And so I would just mention that as well, that we do register with the Utah Youth Court Association. There are many city-based courts in the state as well. And some of you may utilize those within your school districts. We currently have Draper City and Sandy City, both operating youth courts, but typically what they're handling are off-campus events and off-hour events. We will take things that have a nexus to school. And so there is a definite distinction there between those two. Next, Kuhn. So getting started, the personnel you will need, you need someone to oversee the program. You will need a mentor advocate, which is a crucial part to the success. And Suzanne's going to talk to you about her role. Student judges who will require training and mentoring throughout the year. Training of your school administrators. How do they refer? What cases do they refer? Just this morning, I met with our elementary principals because we are certified to take kids K-12. And we've had a couple elementary cases lately and just wanted our elementary principals to know that we are an option for them as well. And then also just your scheduling and a budget. Our budget is very small. These kids get fed every Wednesday night. They love Little Caesars. It fits the budget, but we do feed our kids every Wednesday. And then we also have one of our SROs present at all of our hearings. And part of that, yes, safety. We've never really had a huge safety issue. The reason I really like having our SROs there is about building the community and the relationship. Our SROs will have conversations with the students, conversations with the families, and get to know our peer court judges. And I just feel that it has really built our relationship with the 4 law enforcement agencies that we work with. Next, Kuhn, please. Okay, we're actually, the reasons for peer court referrals. We are certified to take B misdemeanors. Now, there's a wide range of B misdemeanors. We do not take things on the far end of B misdemeanors. I also want to be clear that this is not a substitution for safe school hearings. So we still operate safe school hearings here at our district, and they take the more serious offenses. You'll see on this list things that we have seen. Ongoing behavior, just that student that can't stay in their seat, runs up and down the halls, pounds on the doors, defiant to staff. We do take attendance cases in peer court, and we've actually had some successful outcomes from that. Drug and alcohol use, trespassing on school property, reckless driving on school property, fighting, cyberbullying, disrespect to school employees. We had some Orby guns a couple years ago when that was really big. Vandalism, theft, and then primarily right now, as I think most districts are, we're dealing with a great deal of THC vaping. And so that is coming through with us as well. Next slide, please, Kuhn. You can skip. The referral process, we've made it as easy as possible. We have a Google Doc referral. So our principals, our SROs can just go and make that referral. We need a basic narrative of the situation, demographics on the student, and it is very unusual if we don't get that student in within 1 to 2 weeks. If it's longer than 2 weeks, it's typically because the family can't make it in. We meet every Wednesday night. When we started, we were meeting 2 times a month. We now meet every Wednesday, and about mid-year, so about January, February, we actually are meeting in 2 courtrooms because we've had so many cases. So it has really grown, and I anticipate that will continue to happen every year. Next slide, Kim. There are three fundamental principles that we try to address with our disposition, and that is a community connection, accountability, and skill development. And those are things we consider when creating a unique disposition for every student. So we don't just have a template that we say, here you go, this is what you're doing. Every disposition is unique. Next, please, Kuhn. The timeline, our dispositions are typically 5 to 6 points, and I'll share with you what we include. This is one of the benefits of IC having it here in the district. We include grades and attendance. So we typically expect 80% attendance on time and present, grades passing to the family's expectation. We understand that different families have different expectations, and we want to include the parents and guardians in that. So we are always involving that, and also no office referrals. Each disposition is unique. It is emailed to the parent, the guardian, and the school within 12 hours of the hearing, because this really is a partnership, working with our schools and the school administration, school counselors, our school-based social workers. I've often said we are a resource-rich district, and I know many of our districts have many resources that families just aren't aware of. So this has been a really great opportunity to work collaboratively with many people in our district office and some of our community resources as well. The student has 4 weeks to complete the disposition with an extension of 2 weeks if necessary. In perfect transparency with you, we've had a couple kids over the 6 years. They've really needed the guidance, so we hang on to them and just continue to mentor and work with them. We really do want the best outcome possible. The student will appear for a review, and that's where we would give an extension. Next, please, Kuhn. Mentoring, and I'm going to turn the time over to Suzanne Wren. She's been our mentor from the start and does a fantastic job keeping up with many, many cases. And so I'll turn the time to Suzanne to speak loud.
Sure. I'm Suzanne Wren. I have been with the district. I've just started my 35th year. I've worn many hats. This is by far the best job I have. So the students are given a disposition. I meet with the students weekly. We go over every point on that disposition, from grades, attendance, any online classes. It's amazing when you sit down to talk with these students and listen to them. We find out so much more of what is really going on in their lives, and we try to give them all the resources, all the services that we can provide, and we have been very successful with that. Like I said, I meet with them weekly for 4 weeks. Sometimes longer. And when they have completed their disposition, they come back to a review and we celebrate their success, which is really important. And I have found over the years that it's much more important to listen to students than to talk to them. So I kind of base how I work on that.
And Suzanne does a tremendous job. If you are going to have a youth court or peer court program, a mentor is essential. These kids would not be as successful as they are without her filling that accountability piece every week and being that mentor. The other piece that Suzanne does that's really crucial is she talks to the families. So after she's visited a school, she contacts the parents to let them know as well. So that mentoring piece is very, very crucial. Suzanne has a big caseload at times, but she does it and does it well, and we appreciate her. Next slide, please, Kuhn. Okay, we're going to skip one more ahead and come back to our judges, if that's okay. I'm going to go to community partners first. We are really fortunate to work with 4 different law enforcement agencies, and with those agencies come their victims advocates and the other resources they have. So just to share with you, our Canyons District Resource Officers, which I'm going to give time to Sergeant Singleton here to talk to you about how our SROs have become involved with our peer court. The Sandy City Carry Team, which is a children at risk intervention team, that is through the victims advocates and resources we can utilize for our students. We work with Choose Gang Free mentors through Salt Lake County Sheriff's Department as well. I also sit on the community task force for ICAC. They participate in our training of our judges because we do see online cases come in. We have community professionals. If we find out that a student is very interested in, say, welding, then we will partner them up either by Zoom or live live with a community professional in welding so that they can find out what's necessary to do that job. We had 2 middle school students a couple years ago, girls that were adamant they were going to be real estate agents, and that's what they wanted to do. So we connected them with a very successful real estate agent in the area that could talk to them about what that was going to take. We've had elected officials come in and talk with our students, mayors, city council people. We also have judiciary partners, and the kids had the opportunity to have a Supreme Court justice from the Utah Supreme Court come in and train with them. And then again, the Utah Youth Court Association. It's a great opportunity for mentoring. So I'm going to turn the time to Sergeant Singleton to talk to you about his role and our SROs.
Thanks, Charisse. I'm Sergeant Todd Singleton from Sandy City Police. We cover the majority of the schools within Canyons District, 26 of the schools. We have 10 SROs in those schools. One thing that we like to do with our relationship with the district in peer court is this has kind of helped us create a partnership that takes away that more adversarial approach that you might be used to in your schools, where you have a problem with a student. Maybe you call the school resource officer, or your staff is hesitant to call a school resource officer because maybe they don't want a kid charged with a crime sent to juvenile court. So we've turned this into a partnership where now our school administration, our counselors, and our school resource officers are working together to come up with the best solution for this particular student. With that partnership, we know we can have that SRO meet with the vice principal or principal and determine, hey, maybe charges in the juvenile court system that could take 6 to 9 months to come to a closure, maybe that's not the best route for this student. And we collaborate together. It builds great relationships, and that kind of adversarial kind of relationship between education and law enforcement. We've seen a huge reduction of that with this program. We started sending a few cases to peer court, to where now, Charisse, I think we're in the hundreds. The majority of cases that our school resource officers deal with within the schools are all sent to Canyons peer court. We obviously are repeat offenders, or people who have maybe not succeeded in peer court in the past. They might be referred to the juvenile court system, or if it's an offense that isn't appropriate for the juvenile court system, we continue to send those. We have this great partnership now where we're all on the same page. We have a lot of follow-up. We've reduced our recidivism rate in these same kids. We're not seeing the same kids like we always used to, where we might issue a citation and send a kid to juvenile court, and then we're issuing them a second citation before they've even been seen in court. When we use peer court, like Suzanne had mentioned and Charisse had mentioned, usually within a week to 2 weeks, we're seeing a resolution in a case, as opposed to waiting 6 to 9 months. And now we have this great partnership between all of our school administration and our school resource officers.
Thanks, Sergeant Singleton. And I would just echo what he said. We have a great working collaboration with all 4 of our agencies. So if you could go back a slide, Kuhn. Okay, now you get to hear from the heart of our program, and that is our amazing judges. We take judges grades 9 through 12. We have judges on our panel from all 5 of the comprehensive high schools in Canyons District. This year, we happen to have a student from Jordan District. Jordan doesn't operate a district-based peer court, and so we have her operating with us. I took more judges this year than I've ever taken. We took 30 judges, and they're amazing. And so I just want to give time to them. So we're actually going to go around and they'll introduce themselves a little further. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, and Clarissa and Kuhn are going to just interrupt if we have them, because we love you to ask questions as well. So I'm going to ask each of the students to tell us, how did they find peer court and why are they choosing to participate? So Delana.
I originally found peer court because I was referred during my 8th grade year as a case. What made me want to do peer court as a judge is seeing that different side of things and seeing the way to help people and on the deeper perspective of it. Because going through the program, I realized how much it helped me, and I wanted to see how much I could help other people that same way.
I learned about peer court through just like an email over the summer that was inviting students to apply, and so I applied, and here I am.
I learned about peer court through my good friend Caleb here. He kind of told me like what it was and what they did, and it sounded like a very interesting opportunity, so I signed up.
Yeah, I found out about peer court through my internship at the school district. And that's how I got involved, and that was last year.
I found out about peer court through my mom, who works for a nonprofit that works closely with our peer court, and I signed up and I've had a great time ever since.
Okay, I'm going to ask each of them, to our veteran judges, what made you return another year, and to and our new judges, what's making you want to stay. So, Delana.
What made me return for another year is seeing how much it benefited not only the students coming through, but me as a judge. And just seeing that positive outcome is a really good feeling and a really good opportunity to be able to contribute to my community.
So this is my first year, but if I would definitely come back if I could. And I think just with the few months I've been in peer court, I've already gained a different perspective on how I view students around me at the school. And you just really come to understand that a lot of people are going through different things, and so you just look at them differently.
Yeah, I feel like for me as well, I'm a senior and this is my first year, so I can't come back next year. But if I could, I for sure would, because I feel like, as she was saying, your perspective on like your peers around you in school kind of changes significantly, and you realize some people might have more going on than you would think, and getting to help them and kind of be an impact in the community feels good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also like I agree with everything that's been said, but I also wanted to come back just because I've made some great friendships and relationships with people and judges that I wouldn't have otherwise. And it's really been awesome to meet new people, to kind of see a different view of the world and the people around me as well.
Yeah, I decided to come back from last year because just because the incredible impact I saw on the kids we helped, and just the volume of kids that we helped. And it's so personal with each kid, as well as seeing I get to socialize and have fun with my judges every week. I'm always introduced to new things, so that's why I came back.
Okay, fantastic. What did you expect coming in versus what it really is, Delana?
Coming in as a judge, I expected it to be a lot more like scary, because I remember coming through with my case, I had a lot of anxiety about it, and I didn't fully remember like everything that went on. And coming into it, it's such a positive area to be in. It's not scary. I mean, there's definitely deeper like sentimental feelings towards the program that I didn't realize before, and I didn't expect that either, but it's truly great to be a part of the program and see those different perspectives that I didn't think I would see.
I didn't really have any expectation, I think, coming in, because I just really didn't know what it was. But after doing the training and being at a few cases, I realized it's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. We really just get to have really big impact on those kids and their future and their success. So that was we were just really a positive force for them.
I think for me, I kind of thought it was going to be more about retribution and more about punishment versus rehabilitation. So coming in, I realized really it's not, the focus isn't punishing these kids for what they did, but it's more of helping them and seeing maybe the wrongs in what they did and how we can help them be a better student at school. So I feel like that's the one thing I didn't really realize or think about, is that it's more about helping versus punishing, you know?
Yeah, and to kind of echo off of what Urban said, like we get to have such profound impacts in some of these kids' lives, and that is like something I wasn't expecting going into it. Like it means a lot to some of these kids who like know they messed up, they want to do better, and we help them with that opportunity. We give them that opportunity. That's extremely rewarding for me as a judge.
Yeah, the help that we provide is just incredible. I already talked about how like personal it is, but it really is personal for all of our judges as well. Each kid has so much going on at home, which is what you usually wouldn't see. But coming to Pure Court, you really do see it.
These kids are amazing. Just to share with you too, several of our judges have jumped in when there's been tutoring needed at their school. I should mention the kids do not sit on the panel of a case from their own school. So if a student from Alta is referred to Peer Court, none of our Alta students will sit on that panel as a judge, and we put 3 judges per case. But there have been situations where it's found that the student does need tutoring. These kids do not hesitate to volunteer to tutor during their advisory period. We've set up tutoring in the office, so it's supervised. And they just amaze me with what they jump up and volunteer to do. Just another point to share. To date, this is as of last night, we have seen 487 cases, and our student judges have volunteered over 7,500 hours. That's an extreme amount of hours, and they do it joyfully. They're always pleasant, always happy. Credit can be awarded to these students. For 36 hours, they can earn a 0.25 credit. And so that's another opportunity for these judges in Peer Court as well. The next question I wanted to ask the kids is to share a case that stands out to them.
A case that stands out to me is a case from last year, and the person coming through, she felt very similar to how I felt. Like I could feel her energy from when I came through. And that was when I really realized the importance and impact that the program had on me coming through and me becoming a judge, because like I realized like how much I wanted to help that student, and being a judge on that case also was a huge thing for me, because I got to help with the disposition and helping that person get on the right path, and like realizing how much we help. It was a great realization and a great case that stood out.
One case that really stood out to me was a case with a kid from elementary school. So he was really young, and he was coming to Peer Court for theft. And when we talked with him and his parent, we realized that it was more than just like theft. It was just he was getting things that he didn't have at home, and they were lacking a lot of things, and like even just food. And so for me, seeing really just young kids being in really hard situations was really impactful.
For me, it was also an elementary school student. He came in for vandalism at his school, and when the kid came in, you could see how apologetic he was, and you could see that he knew what he did was wrong, and maybe in the moment he thought he was just messing around, having fun with his friends. So I think that he realized that his community cared about him when he got to come here. His community wasn't just there to punish him, and they wanted to actually, I don't know, help him and see the wrongs in what he did and how we can improve on that. And the kid just really, he wanted to do whatever he could to make the situation right. So I feel like the fact that he got to come to Peer Court versus like a different type of court, he felt more like someone cared specifically about him, and could see that what he did was just a mistake and not something intentional or a crime. So
Thank you.
I think my most memorable case was probably also from last year. We had this young kid come in, a middle school student, and he really did not have a lot going for him. He had been living in a group home, had a little bit of mental illnesses, some on the spectrum, is kind of what we kind of realized as he went through. And this case was a theft case, and he had stolen this girl's wallet. And he coming in, like, I don't think he fully understood what he did, and like why it was so wrong and stuff like that. And we were able to kind of like help him through the process of paying that back and helping him move forward from this. And we did something that we have only done once or twice in the entire program's existence, but we provided an incentive for this kid to kind of help get him over the finish line. because he was really struggling and he had wanted to be a marine biologist. And so we gave him 2 free passes to the aquarium. And you could just see it in his face. Like his eyes just lit up. He was super, super excited, super happy. And he worked really, really hard to get through the program and to be better about things. And it was also just, it was rewarding because we got to kind of like help this kid when he was at one of his lowest points.
Probably the most memorable case for me was a young man from last year. He came in for his review. He had done little to nothing. His attendance was, I believe, under 20%. All classes failing, and this was his review. So he had already been giving his disposition 4 weeks before, and he had done almost nothing. And he came in and he was very defiant. He was yelling at us. He was yelling at his mom. And so we got to a point where we didn't exactly know what to do anymore. So we had them step out so we could decide as a panel what we wanted to do. And when they came back in, I talked with them, just trying to understand what really was going on outside of school, at home maybe. And he really opened up and he really just wanted to be able to make his parents proud, and he couldn't figure it out. And so after that, we gave him some more time, really helped him out, and he passed. He graduated. He got his attendance way up, higher than 80%, and he got all his classes passing. He's doing well.
Thank you, Brandon. While we were practicing, yes, you have questions?
And they have questions. If I think it's appropriate. So one comment is the students are impressive. So you are impressive. One from Stacy. Do they worry about their own safety being involved in peer court?
Do you worry about your own safety being involved in peer court?
I wouldn't necessarily say I worry about my own safety being involved in peer court. I know that I have the support of the people around me, and I think that through the program is a very positive thing, is having the support of people my age while I'm still developing who I am and not being judged. And I feel like a lot of safety for me, especially with like mental health, is feeling like I'm being judged, and I don't feel like that. And when it comes to like physical safety, I don't feel threatened in any way. I know that the people are here to keep me protected and to keep me safe, and it's confidential. And so yeah.
Urban, it looked like you had something to say.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like most cases that come in usually aren't super, I guess there are Class B misdemeanors, so they're not, most of the times I feel like the kid is gonna be a threat to you, but also we have like she was saying, a support system. So if I did feel threatened in any way, I know who I can talk to and what we can do about it, so.
Any other?
Yeah, I mean, there is always that awkward moment where there's a kid from your school who's been through the program and they're like, they've recognized you at school. That's happened to me a couple times, and it's happened to Delana. But our training prepares us for that. And I have never felt unsafe really in any way throughout the entire course of this program. And while there is those awkward moments, like it's never a safety issue for me.
Yeah.
Lynn?
I'd like to add on to Belena's point. I think it's important that not only we're safe physically, but mentally. I know when I'm in the courtroom, I have all the support I need there. And part of that physical safety is we have our SROs here. I've probably seen over 200 cases, been in the room for that. And I don't think ever once I have felt scared for my safety. Even if there wasn't an officer there, I don't think I've ever felt scared.
And the students have the option to step out So if it's a student that even though they don't go to school with them, maybe they worked with them, maybe they played soccer with them, years ago. We had one situation where one of our judges actually worked with the mom. So the kids know part of our safety valve is they can leave the courtroom and they go sit in Suzanne's office. So they don't have to stay in the courtroom if they're uncomfortable.
Can I add on to that really quick?
Sure.
That goes along with if you're on the case as a judge or a bailiff, if you recognize someone, then you can go and tell one of these two if someone, and that also just goes along with the confidentiality thing and the safety concern. Yeah, it can be an in the moment thing. So.
And today we have had no safety issues. We've had none of our judges threatened. We've also never had a breach of confidentiality, and that speaks to these great kids. Cool.
There's a couple more administrative questions. Do we need to have an SRO to start this program?
No, you don't. We could run it even without them. They don't have to come. But like I explained and like Sergeant Singleton explained, it's a great collaboration. And I strongly encourage involving your SROs because they are feeding those cases as well. But no, you don't have to have one to start the program. To start your program, you need a plan, and then you do that application through the Peer Court Association. And I will put out at this moment, because of that, I am willing to share any documents we have. We actually have a Google folder that if you email me, I will share the file with you and you can take a look at our documents as starting documents and feel free to use them. We're happy to be a resource for that and how you get started.
Awesome, thank you. Who pays for the mentor?
She is an employee. So Suzanne is full-time as a mentor for Peer Court. As far as I go, this is just part of my duties. I have other responsibilities as well. And then we do pay our SROs when they come, just their rate that they get when they supervise events.
Thank you. And then I may need help with it. Do Peer Court referral go through LCMT, DCMT, or is it a different referral process?
That's a different referral process. So as we mentioned, we're not the substitute for safe schools. Our DCMT is our safe schools, those hearings. And sometimes they'll get a call with the school wanting to refer for DCMT and they feel like it's better suited for Peer Court. So they'll let us know. Sometimes they've done Peer Court as a, lack of a better word, a precursor to DCMT to try to help the student. So we try to work collaboratively with our DCMT team as well.
Awesome. And then Colleen Kidman, you mentioned earlier, she just dropped a note, says, awesome job, keep up the good work. So that's all the question for now. So
okay, we love Carlene. What I'd like the next one I'd like to ask the students to share is just what has left a lasting impression with them? And then I'm actually going to double up the question. They can handle it. What has left a lasting impression and why would they suggest that other districts run a similar program? So, Delana.
Kind of just like how I said before of coming through the program and having that support system of people your age. I think that has definitely given a lasting impression because as bailiff, from personal experience, there can be students that are very, very nervous and you can simply reassure them just that no one's there to judge them and that we're all there to help them. And hearing that from your peers that you're not judging them, I think that can be very reassuring and it helps them with their case. And then what was the other one?
Why should other districts do this?
Other districts, I think that they should do this because it gives opportunities to both students involved in the program and the students coming through the program to do better, to better themselves, to have a better look on the community that they're in. And it's very impactful on a deeper level than I think a lot of people understand.
A lasting impression I had was the first time we got someone to graduate. That was probably like the second week I was in Peer Court, and it's just a really happy celebration, and it really made all the previous cases where we had like done those dispositions just have like I actually could realize the impact that Peer Court could have on those kids. and just like how well they could do and how well they could be changed. And I would recommend peer court to other districts because I think unlike the juvenile court, we have a lot more flexibility in what we can do to help them. And in the long term, the students not only, I mean, they're held accountable for what they did, and they understand, I think, why what they did was wrong, but they also get keys to succeed in the future and just be more successful in their school and even future lives.
I think a lasting impression for me was, or is in general, just seeing a kid come in for their review. Obviously not all cases do the kids, change or want to change, but there's cases where kids come in, you can just see a difference from the first time they came in. You can see almost an inexplicable difference. Obviously it's seen through their grades and attendance, but also in just their demeanor. And you can tell that we were able to impact them in a certain way that, changed their view on school. And that's always such a great feeling, I feel like. So getting to help someone in that way just makes the heart feel good. So that's kind of a selfish way of thinking about it, I feel like. But the reason I would recommend peer court to other school districts is I feel like so many kids that come in, I feel like they're more seen coming in to our peer court, because we as peers, it's almost, you can feel for them a lot more, because they're your age or around your age, and maybe they're in certain situations that you've seen or been a part of. So the kid feels more seen and safer, I feel like, versus we have a certain view of like, oh, adults don't know anything. But when it's someone your age telling you, you kind of feel like, oh shoot, maybe I should step on it. And I feel like it's just a great opportunity for someone to skip out on the juvenile court system, and it's like a good kickback, I think a clutch. So
Yeah, peer court is by far one of the best programs I've ever had the pleasure to be a part of, and that's all thanks to Miss Hilton and Miss Wren and all the wonderful SROs and judges that we have. And I think my biggest, the most lasting impact that I've had is there's a lot more than what meets the eye. Especially with some of these kids who are quieter, they aren't really a part of their school, they aren't really involved in anything. Oftentimes they're skipping or just in these really, really hard situations, and you might not even know, just walking past them in the halls or seeing them around the school, you don't even know what they're going through. And I think peer court has given me the opportunity to kind of appreciate that, kids go through a lot of hardships. We all have a lot we struggle with, and I think peer court has really taught me to kind of appreciate more and kind of look out for that more within my community, within the people around me. And I'd recommend peer court to any school district that wants to participate, because not only can we help these kids, the judges that go through it also get very long-lasting relationships, friendships, really great experiences. Like Landon here, we go to different schools. We would have never met if not for peer court, and now we've become great friends over this past year. And he is someone I can call one of my closest friends. I can call him at any time, and that has been an amazing part of being a judge for me as well.
Yeah. Caleb's not really my friend. I'm just playing. My favorite lasting impression would be definitely the emotions that I felt going through peer court. Last year I saw so much hardship in students, and it really just, I feel for all the kids that surround me at school, and every kid who's come through peer court. Even our judges go through hard things. But what's also great is in peer court, we not only see the hardship, but we see the success. When kids come in for their review and they've done everything, and we can say, hey, we don't really have much to talk about. You've done everything. We're so proud of you. And it's just so happy. It's such a great feeling. You feel accomplished. You know that they feel accomplished, and that they have the skills that they need to move forward with their lives. And hopefully not make the same mistake as they did that got them to peer court. I would totally recommend peer court because of that. It will move everyone involved in the program. The only way that you don't like peer court is if you're one of the kids who comes in and you just don't really understand it. Is the only way you're not liking it is if you don't understand it. That's why I would recommend it.
Thanks, Len and Kay. And I'm watching the time, Coon. I'm going to ask Sergeant Singleton and Suzanne just to also share any lasting impressions from being exposed to our peer court.
Oh, yeah, for me, it's definitely the amount of, like the judges have already mentioned, the things that we learn about our students that we wouldn't have known had our SROs just maybe written them a citation for juvenile court and sent them to juvenile court. Now we take all the people who know our students the best, which are administrators, our counselors, and our SROs, they collaborate together and then send them up to peer court. So some of these things that they've found out and that Suzanne's been able to help students with, maybe no food in the home, no transportation, things like that. Without peer court, there might have been hesitancy to contact your school resource officer in the first place. And so a case maybe isn't sent to juvenile court, it's not sent to peer court because of that hesitancy to get law enforcement involved. And now we have that tool to our advantage to send these cases up. We learn about them, and then we can offer additional resources. And that's been the biggest impact for me and the school resource officers, is to see that on the surface it might look like just a THC case or a tobacco case, but underneath that surface, where the judges are able to determine that, hey, there's some serious issues going on at home, and not to say that those same steps don't happen at juvenile court. They can and they do, but sometimes it's way down the road, which for me it's all time. Sometimes we have to get to these issues quickly before they turn into bigger problems.
My lasting impression, well, I've been here since day one and I keep coming back. Even though I'm at that age, I didn't retire. I love this program. The lasting impressions are the 474 cases that we have done, that we have been so successful at. This court not only provides for what the student needs, I think it provides all of us for what we need. We love our judges. They're like our own kids. And we love our students that come through. So the lasting impression will probably keep going on for a few more years until I decide to hang it up.
And I would just close with saying I've done a lot of assignments in my 33 years as well. Wonderful assignments, but this is definitely in the top 3. I love working with our student judges, and they impress us every week. They are brilliant and creative and kind. Also seeing the kids and families that we've been able to reach out to that still contact us today, 2-3 years later, for help when they need it. And I'm just glad that we can be that resource to them.
Thank you, Charisse, and thank you, panelists, for being here today. You're awesome and sharing your story and then your involvement. Just awesome. I will share the resource. We just have 1 minute, but we'll say just a couple of seconds. Tanya, would you like to say anything into this group, please?
Yes, we're so grateful to have you guys participate in our webinar. We're just feeling so honored and thrilled that you were able to share with us, especially our student judges. Thank you so much. You are an extraordinary crew, and I'm so grateful that you've had this opportunity that will be able to help you in your life, be successful and be empathetic towards others. I think, Koon, you have a couple more things.
Yep, just a couple more slides. Okay. So this available court, certified youth court, and if I will send this, and you can have access to this. So we have less than 30 youth court around the state. So this is available here. This will be included as part of contact. If you can all please provide us with feedback by scanning this QR code, I will communicate with Sri and see if we can share the PowerPoint presentation with you all, and then also USBE presentation to you all with that. So with that, thank you all for your time, and our next presentation will be in December. Do we have an exact date, Chris? Yeah. Sorry, put you on the spot here. I believe it's December 18th, I believe, and then that will
It
be
is December 18th, and we will be covering bullying prevention next month. So we hope
Yep.
everybody can join us.
Yep. With that, thank you all.
Thank you.
And just for everyone who's still here, we will be putting the slide deck on our website as well. I think it's ready to go, and we'll be placing it there pretty quickly. So you'll also have access to the slides that way.